Hello, everyone. Kira Schaefer here with Voices of Wisdom. I am so happy you are back and joining us again. And I have a wonderful, most amazing, beautiful, awesome, special treat. I think of Chelley Canales as a treat because she gives so much love, so much of her energy, and so much of her lightness and kindness and heart, and she is always full out, totally her. And so getting to have her join us for Voices of Wisdom is just something that means so much to me personally. She has joined me on the stage at Celebrate Your Life, and we have had dance parties and all kinds of fun stuff, getting the crowd warmed up for the other presenters. But today, she is the one that is presenting to you, and I am so grateful to have her in my life. So please help me welcome the gorgeous, wonderful Chelley Canales.
What an intro. Thank you.
I'm perfecting these.
I love it. I just feel like I'm glowing from the inside out, and I just love being in your energy, in your space. So thank you for that. I feel like $1 million. I was just thinking about our dance party and how maybe we did the sprinkler. I forget, but
sure the sprinkler did happen.
It happened, yeah. And it might happen again.
Swim happened.
Yes.
So thank you for our beautiful friends a little bit about you, and then let's get going. Let's have some fun today.
Yes, thank you, Kira. So I'm Chelley Canales, originally from South Texas, grew up in Colorado, and I'm a performer, singer, actress, dancer, and I've had a lot of jobs in my life. And for the longest time, I was working in nonprofit, which has a very special place in my heart. But there was this calling about 2 years ago, this knocking, this intuition, this just like, this isn't your path, and you need to break out of this box you put yourself into, to this idea that your voice doesn't matter, and you need to help others to use their voice and elevate others so that they can. So from then, since that point, I've worked in a variety of stages as a host, MC. One of my favorite things to do is interview people. I have a podcast, Lighthouse Conversations, which you have been on before, and loved speaking with you. I absolutely love hearing people's story. And we focus on spiritual awakening stories, and everyone's story is so different from their walks of life, but there's this common thread that always ties people together. And we realize like how much more alike than we are apart. What I also find is how cathartic it can be for the people who share their stories, and how moving it can be for the people who hear them. So much of what I do is revolving around your voice and why you should use it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So we're just going to go right into this. Ready for meditation and presentation and some more meditation. So everybody just get into a comfortable place. Get what you need to get you a glass of water if you don't already have one with you. Maybe take out your notepad and let's just dive in. Thank you, Chelley. I'm going to hop off and let's go for it.
See you on the other side.
All right.
All right. Thank you for being here, everyone. So this is called Your Story Deserves to Be Told. Your voice is more powerful than you think. Now, I don't know about you, but there are a lot of people, including myself, who over the years, I have heard this need come from them, this desire to share their story. They have a calling, and there's sometimes things that get in the way of that, right? So sometimes we want to be on worldwide stages, and we want to write books, and we want to be a teacher, or it can even manifest itself in, I want to show up as my full authentic self with my friends, with my immediate family, with my coworkers. So there are a couple of things, I'm going to talk about 3 of them today, that hold people back from using their voice. The top 3 so the top 3 things that will hold you back, the top 3 reasons why you must use your voice, and 3 suggestions to get you started towards using your voice. So before we get that, I'd like to do a little bit of a meditation with you. And it's just, a few minutes to get ourselves grounded and centered. And I want to take you to a place where you think about where maybe you found your voice didn't matter, or you felt like you've lost your power in your voice. So we're going to start with putting our feet on the ground, closing our eyes. You can put one hand on your heart and one on your belly. We're going to take 3 deep breaths together. So inhale through your nose. Out through your mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Then one more. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Now you can drop your hands so your palms are laying on the top of your thighs. Your palms are facing up, back of your hands on the top of your thighs. Your feet are flat on the floor. And if you, in your mind's eye, can imagine tree roots growing out of the bottom of your feet, and start to imagine that they make connection with the floor beneath you. And see if you can sense that tingle. That connection is made. And start to imagine that those tree roots begin to work their way down through the floor, down through the layers of concrete, dirt, rock, and crystal, miles and miles down, until you can envision the center of the earth. Imagine this core, this glistening core, and see if you can see those tree roots wrap around, plugging into the energy of what is here. Once you feel that connection, just kind of feel how your tailbone is sitting on the chair here. Make sure you're not tilting too forward or too back. And imagine that there is a cord, and it can be around the size of your tailbone. I like to imagine it as wide as every part of me that's touching the chair. And imagine that there's this big hollow space, and whoosh, that goes all the way down to the center of the earth as well, connecting you so that you can release energy that doesn't belong to you. So imagine a color that feels to you very grounding, that feels like presence. And whatever that is, begin to collect that from the center of the earth and bring it up through the tree roots, up, 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 till it meets your feet. And from here, sense that color being pulled up through your feet, your ankles, up your shins to your knees, over your thighs and your hips. And as it collects energy on the way up, whoosh, it drops down your tailbone, down that cord. So start to let that run by itself. Feel the sensation, the gentle tingling, and also visualize that color. And as it moves through you, feel that energy picking up any dark spots, any energy that doesn't belong to you, anything that feels congested or heavy. Notice if there's any discomfort and pick that up and sweep it down so that there's beautiful cycle of energy running from your feet down. Now picture the top of your head about 6 inches above the top of your head, and envision a beautiful opening that will allow this inspirational energy from the sky to pour through. And choose a different color that represents that to you, your connection with all that is. And imagine that pouring through, down your head, your eyes and eyelashes, cheeks, nose, mouth, chin, down your ears, your neck. It's pouring like warm honey down the front of your torso, through your arms, to each finger, and see if you can sense a gentle movement, a tingling in the palms of your hands and your fingers. And take that sensation back up to your shoulders, down the front of your torso, through all of your organs and down your spine. Completely putting yourself in this space of connection. And as you see this color move through the top half of you, it begins to blend with the bottom half. And the bottom half grounding energy starts to blend with the top. So imagine this washing machine of energy moving through you, collecting the bits of energy that aren't yours, flushing them down the grounding cord, and continuing to move the grounding up and the inspiration down, until it's like a beautiful tie-dye type feeling inside. And breathe. And once you feel like you've gotten all of it, flush it all, whoosh, down that grounding cord. Now you have a vessel here that you can fill in with the type of energy that you choose specifically, that you want to inhabit. So above your head, imagine a big gold sun. And inside this sun, I would like you to put in the traits that you believe would be necessary to use your voice in its most powerful way. So imagine it could be inspiration, confidence, bravery, the opportunity to show who you truly are, and start to feel those things inside of you. And as that's collecting above your head, I want you to take a moment and think to yourself, is there a moment, a specific moment I can go back to in my life when I felt like my voice didn't matter? When I felt like my story did not deserve to be told? When I felt like my presence on this planet was not important? When I was invalidated for my voice? So take a moment, just consider what that might be. And once you have that, put it aside for a moment, put it outside of your bubble, and begin to fill in your space with those words of encouragement, those words of confidence, those words of inspiration. And imagine it pouring in through the top of your head, this big gold sun, down your face, neck, torso, shoulders, arms, belly, hips, thighs, down your shins and your feet. And see that grounding cord close up so you are able to keep inside all of this inspiration. And as that sun goes all the way in, close off the top of your energy as well. So you are just radiating, circulating this energy that you have chosen, that you want in your space. And from here, begin to imagine the energy exuding itself outside of your body. Think of it in this big orb around 6 feet around you on every side, protecting you, holding your space, and allowing yourself to be as you choose to be in this moment. We'll take 3 breaths together. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and the biggest one yet, inhale, and exhale. Good. Slowly bring yourself back into the room. Thank you for going on that journey with me. I hope you had a moment to kind of consider the time in your life when you felt like, yeah, I shouldn't be speaking. I have a lot to say, but I can't because, and I can share with you, one of mine. I mean, I've heard many of these. I've interviewed countless people on my podcast, renowned authors, meditation teachers, athletes, and it's always their most vulnerable moments, the moments when they felt like, I'm nothing, I have nothing, I can do nothing. When by sharing that, it becomes the catalyst to how they change the world. So let's go back a little bit. I'll tell you a little bit about my story. This is my 4th grade story. So I talked about this on my TEDx talk, which came right after, well, actually, I decided to leave my job, and I hadn't heard that I'd gotten it yet. But once I decided to leave my job for sure and move into this other path, then I found out I received an invitation to speak on TEDx. And it's a lot, but it feels so good because this was the first time I could truly use my voice. It was a presentation called "What is the World Missing Out on While You Wait for Permission," which I kind of wrote for myself, but I knew was meant for others. It kind of downloaded one night. I feel like I channeled this talk, but it was also an opportunity for me to break open this kind of bubble of shame that I had been living in about my worth and value and how I was able to show up in the world. So I'll take you back. When I was 9 years old, my family, we lived in South Texas, a border town, Laredo, moved to Littleton, Colorado, which was a completely different experience for me. I was super tan. My hair was like big and curly, and I looked like everyone else when I lived in Texas. And when I moved to Colorado, I'm like, okay, there's not a lot of Latin people around here right now. And I felt like very self-conscious about it, but I love making friends. And so I felt very open, and I was nervous, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna make my mark. It's gonna be amazing. And it started out with me having to say, so my name's actually Araceli, but no one knew how to say it. So Chelley was my nickname, and Chelley became my name, which fits, and I'm glad to have it. But that was kind of like the first step of like, okay, pieces of you are being taken away so that you can be acceptable and that you can use your voice as appropriate in the right box. So I've said, okay, that's what we're doing. I'm ready. I want to feel safe. I want to feel secure. I want to be a part of this. And the first day of school, we got asked questions by a teacher, and I love learning. I'm a little Hermione Granger here. Pick me, pick me, pick me. And this was the first time I raised my hand. So it was all these new students, my whole new life. Teacher asked a question. I raised my hand and I answered the question. And then across the room, a girl stands up, and she looks at me just like she hates me. And she goes, "Shut up, you." And I'm not going to say it, but like it was a racial thing. And I burst into tears. First of all, she got my ethnicity wrong. But the point was, you're different. You're not like us. You don't get to talk. I started crying and I said, "That's the most insulting thing anyone has ever said to me." Like it was my Anne of Green Gables moment, like with Anne Shirley and the chalkboard on Gilbert's head, her first day of school, like she's just humiliated and crying. And I got in trouble. The girl who did it got in trouble, but I also got in trouble. And I learned at that point, your voice doesn't matter. And if you point out something that's wrong, if you point out like, this doesn't make sense, I shouldn't be treated like this, you will also be punished. So that kind of began this journey of keep it small. Don't call things out if you see an injustice towards you or someone else, and fit in. So strip away the things that make you different. You're unique because you need to go with the flow if you're going to be accepted and if you're going to be safe. So what good ever comes from that? The teachers, the leaders, the people who speak, who change my life, who show their heart and are vulnerable, those are the ones for me. Those are the ones that actually get me to look inside myself and become bigger than myself and inspire me to use my voice. So I hope you had a minute to kind of think about what it is in your life, whether it's other people or your own judgment or things that happen, embarrassing moments. What are the things that keep you silent? And also, why do you want to use your voice? Is it because you're seeing something out there that you feel needs to be changed and you want to stand up for someone or for yourself? Is it because you've been through something that like is really hard and you think that people can maybe benefit from that? Yes, yes, yes. All of those things are true. So what is stopping you? What I've gathered from my own experience and from learning from so many people who I've spoken to is that there are about three main things that come to mind. So we'll start with number one, which is judgment from others and the consequences that come from that. It is scary to call things out. It is scary to expose yourself as who you are. It is scary to rock the boat in a life that has been crafted around you, that people know you as, like this is Chelley. She works in nonprofit. Why is she throwing a spiritual retreat? That was a huge fear of mine, that when I created this, people would mock me. They would ostracize me. They would maybe be jealous that I was trying something and try to bring me down, or say like, who are you exactly to be doing these things? And that stopped me for a while. I remember the day that I put my retreat up on my website. I'm like, put it on Facebook. My heart was palpitating. I was sweating. I was crying. I was like, I don't think I can do this. And I just said, you have to. It's that Joseph Campbell quote, and I wrote it down. I want to make sure I get it exactly right. It is, where is it? Oh, it's the cave you fear to enter is the one you must. It's true. It's like the thing that scares you so much is the thing that you need to do in order to get to your next level, right? So that's what I did. I walked through that door. I showed up. I did it, kind of like hid my head in my hands and was like, okay, I'm ready for all the blowback. And all I got was love. Like, I'm so glad you're stepping into yourself. I'm so happy that you're being you. Thank you for doing that. How can I come to your event? This sounds like something I need in my life. I'm glad someone's doing that. And that dissipated my fears. And, once I jumped off that cliff, I was like, okay, not so bad. I can do this. I can do this. And then it was like a bigger thing, and then a bigger thing, and a bigger thing. And every time I got that feeling, I'm like, okay, I know this feeling. This has stopped me in the past. But I also know that when it doesn't stop me and when I do it, the rewards are great. They take me to the next level. It's like the container that my soul is in just keeps expanding, and the things that I can do just keep growing. So for me, that judgment from others, the consequences from speaking up, they were all worth it. And consequences mean like, okay, you're in the conference room and you see, someone is being talked over and not valued or listened to, and you saying something like that, and then suddenly you're in trouble and you're no longer part of the conversation. Uh, it's becoming more and more important to risk, to me, being facing those consequences from other, because I realize that the more I do it, the more other people will do it, and the more that behavior or that type of treatment won't be allowed to continue, which is what the goal is here. People need to be treated with respect and dignity, and that's important to me. Especially when it comes out to calling out unfair treatment of marginalized populations, for example, or changing structures, within our society along those lines. Like, we got to have these conversations, guys, and it's not easy, but it's necessary. So, to go along with that, another reason people have been hesitant to share their story is shame. And the shattering of the image that we have created about ourselves. Like, look at my life, look at my Instagram, I got this thing going on, look, I'm doing all these things, and not really being entirely truthful about who we are and what we've been through. Not that everybody needs to hear that story, but if you're being called to talk about it, you should. Some of the most moving speakers have had the hardest journeys. I think back to the wonderful International Women's Summit, went a couple years ago here, and one of the speakers was Lisa Nichols, and she is one of my absolute favorite speakers. And her life was not easy. The way she talked about raising her son and needing help, and how she came out of that. To me, it's those moments, it's the times when you're at your lowest, when you're looking at your life and going, how did I get here? What am I doing? I've been there, I'm there all the time. And then you realize then why you went through that. It's so that you can connect with people more. It's so that you have greater empathy. It's so that your story can travel and touch hearts who then, like little lights all over the world, they get lit up and their story gets told, and then they get lit up and they inspire the people around them. If you have shame about something, that's what keeps you separate from each other. Financial stuff, trauma, abuse, things that we all in different ways may have had experience with. I guarantee you there are people who can relate to that and who would not judge you for having been through what you've been through or having done what you've done. I guarantee that. There are people who need to hear you because, well, we'll get to that a little bit later, because when you do that, it heals someone else. So you absolutely need to understand that shame is like designed to keep us quiet. And we're not meant to be, because things need to change. Our society is evolving. We're all in this like period of major growth. And that doesn't happen unless each of us kind of take up the mantle there and say, okay, you know what? This happened to me. I've been through this. And you know what? I'm okay. And you're okay. We're all okay. I trust that so much. And I've countless times on my podcast, I've had people say, I've never said this out loud before, but I want you to know this. And I feel like it's time to tell it. And when that happens, it's like whoosh, all of this energy opens up. And suddenly everyone is just like, everyone who hears it, everyone in our conversation is moved and changed. And then there's like this pressure that releases. It's really beautiful. So going to the third reason is going back to what I spoke to originally, is my voice doesn't matter. Or the imposter syndrome. I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't have imposter syndrome. There's that, I didn't get all my certifications. I didn't, I haven't done this for 20 years. Who am I to, to say these things, to have this message, to be in front of people? When really it's like, who's putting that in your mind? Did you tell that to yourself because you feel that you're truly not worthy of it? Are other people telling you that? Like, find out exactly like where these messages came from, because listen, you're worthy. Okay. You deserve to have your voice out there. You are the most incredible voice, the most unique voice, and no one can tell your story like you can tell your story. So who am I to tell my story? The only person who can. Your voice matters. And what's beautiful is as you're being your unique, wonderful self, the themes that come through are what will touch people's hearts. So don't be afraid of that. Yes, your voice matters. 100%. And I'm telling you, because I've been through this myself. If you can just walk through that fear and trust that it does, the results are going to be amazing. So those are usually the top 3. If you have any that come to mind for you, write them down, put them out there and say like, this is what normally stops me. And, we can absolutely work with that, because, none of us are always ready to go at all times. It takes a little bit of work. So here are the 3 reasons why you must use your voice. First of all, it heals you. When I released that 4th grade story, like, I know it's like nothing to talk about it now, but I held that in my body for years and years. And that shame, every time I would think about it, I would picture myself on my parents' bathroom floor, crying my eyes out and not wanting to go back to school and saying like, I just don't make me go back. Like, I can't face that. And that guilt, that shame, that wanting to hide, that would just take me over. And I could feel my body slump, and I could just, and when I decided to tell it, I told it in front of like hundreds and hundreds and now thousands of people, and it released me from it. So there's something to be said about unlocking the energy of an issue that has been holding you hostage. So by sharing your story, you are unlocking that key to you being your freest self. Secondly, it heals other people. If we go back to that shame thing, right? If you're ashamed of something that's happened to you in your past and you have just all of this energy around it, and you hear somebody else who you respect and admire and who's out there doing their thing saying, hey, that happened to me. You're like, oh, that happened to me. You too? You're okay. Yeah. And I love your story, and I'm going to follow you, and I'm going to learn about you because I understand that you can go from here to here and you're fine. So you will heal other people by sharing your story. You don't even know the impact, the ripple effect of what will come from you being able to pour open your heart and give that to the world. It's a precious, precious gift for others. So I guess the part 3 of this would be, if you think about how you're healed and then you help to heal others, the third part is that it changes the world. The more healed people there are and the more connection that there is, the better we will be as a society. If you think about it, if we're not just like, hiding ourselves, hiding our truth from others, and here's my facade and here's your facade, and we're just getting through our day. If there's that real connection, and I think we learned so much about not having it this year during isolation and COVID, and how difficult it is to not be seen and not be in the presence of someone who can get you or understand you. These things are necessary to have a functioning, healthy society. So how can we be more open with each other? We tell our truth, and then you listen and you hold space for someone else to tell their truth as well. So those are the reasons why you must. And then I'm just going to give you 3 quick tips to take your first steps towards understanding how special your story is, and to get you using that voice, because you're gonna use that voice. Okay. So first of all, going back to Joseph Campbell, because I do love him, he's got this whole hero's journey mapped out. Write your own story. Literally get on your laptop or take out a piece of paper and pen. I want you to just be like, it was a February day and the sun was shining outside, but the snow was falling. Write your story as if it was this amazing novel that you can't put down. And I want you to walk through your life and just remember those things that happen, and then give yourself credit for the amazing things that you have done. Think about, like, I don't think people give themselves enough credit. Like, hold a mirror up to yourself and be like, oh, wow, I did this. I raised these kids. I had this incredible success doing this. I took care of my family. Write those things down. Think about, I was a high honor student, or, I scored the winning goal, or I was just a good friend. Those moments that just stick with you, but maybe you forgot about, even go back through old pictures or something just to remind yourself. Tell your story. Give yourself that like beginning, middle, and end. And if you feel like really good about it, I mean, it can just be for you. Share it with the people you love. It might be an amazing thing to be witnessed, to have somebody hold space for you as you're like, guys, look at me, look at what I've done. And there's something so like amazing about that, because it turns the spotlight back on yourself. And instead of being hard on yourself every day, like, I didn't do this well, I'm not good enough at this, I didn't succeed as much at this, you're like, I have been through a lot. I've really been through it, and look at where I am, and look at the amazing things that happen in the people whose lives that I've touched along the way. So write your journey. Next, this was a really fun exercise I did for myself, and I like to share with people. It filled my heart up so much. So there's kind of a two-part thing. It's asking people what they think about you and your journey. So there's two parts. I went back and found, I keep all my old cards. People write me notes, letters, love letters, family letters, and I go through all of those things, and I got a notebook, and I wrote down every word that was used to describe me. This. And I had pages, and I was like, oh, they think that of me. Wow. Oh, I'm a good friend. Oh, they care. I did that for them. And I started writing these things down. Then I started seeing where all those words were duplicated and 3 times and 4 times. I'm like, wow. So this is what people are receiving from me. And I didn't even think about it. I didn't even realize that I was having an impact on them like that. And so sometimes when I feel not so great about myself, or feel like I don't matter, my voice doesn't matter, I will go to that list and I will fill my cup and say, okay, I've touched people's lives. People have felt better because of this. And it really touches my heart. And if you're feeling brave, ask some people who are close to you in your life, say, what are the top 3 things that, that matter to you about me? How do I affect your life? Can you just share that with me? And you might be surprised what comes back. And I also know that it's really touching, and it gives people an opportunity to say, hey, I also, I love you. And these are the things that I love about you. Because how often do we stop in our day just to acknowledge that, and also do that for them too? I think that would be a really, really lovely gift. So the third step here is to start small in using your voice. So once you're feeling good, you're feeling solidified, you don't have to get on a stage in front of hundreds of people right away. What you can do is, whether it's like you want to speak or you want to write, like a perfect example is As You Wish Publishing. This is how I got published for the first time with Kira, was getting my essay published in When I Rise, I Thrive. And then I wrote my own book after that. But that was the first chance. I was like, oh my gosh, my heart's pounding. My words are going to be out into the world. But it was such a gentle step to take in order to bring myself to that place of like, I can do this. So whether it's that, or if you want to speak in front of people, maybe you start with your family or dear friends, have them over, bring them over to the house with your COVID safe, your, whatever it takes. You could be outside, whatever. It could be online. Make it, so it works for you and your lifestyle. And say, like, I would love to practice this talk with you. I'd love to share me and my experience, or I just literally just want someone to hear me tell this because it will heal me. So don't be afraid to ask and take baby steps in that direction. So what I can say is that every time you take one little step, you get braver, and then the step is bigger, and then the step is bigger, and the next step is bigger. So just give yourself the opportunity to start somewhere, and you will be sharing your heart and telling your story like you can't imagine. So before I kick it back to bring Kira back, I just want to do one tiny, tiny little meditation with you. We'll breathe together, and I just want you to visualize something for me. So come with me, hand on your heart, hand on your belly. Inhale. Exhale through your mouth. Inhale. Exhale. And one more inhale. Exhale. Now I want you to think back to that memory that came up in the first meditation. That time when you felt your voice was invalidated, or you were embarrassed, or you were afraid, or you felt like, I can't, I can't use my voice, I can't tell my story. If you can visualize that scene, imagine yourself as you are today, walking into that space and seeing yourself at that age, experiencing that very moment. And I want you to walk up to yourself and give that younger you a huge hug. And I want you to tell them, thank you. Thank you for helping me to be who I am today. Thank you for showing me that I can survive and I can thrive. And I'm also going to leave my pain here with you. I'm going to leave any shame or embarrassment or sadness around this. You don't have to carry it, but I'm just going to leave it in this memory. But what I will take is the lesson. What I will take is the power and the strength that came from this. And I will look back with you with kindness and with fondness and with love. And this moment will no longer hold me back, but it will be the very thing that brings me forward. I'll take a deep breath in. Exhale. Thank you, thank you, thank you for going on this journey with me. And I hope that you go out there and speak your truth, because there are people who need to hear it. Thank you.
You got me crying, and I forgot to bring my tissue in the.
Oh, God love you.
I'm like, girl, it's okay, baby. We'll just leave this pain right here, sugar.
I love how you talk to her. You should talk to her with love. My sweet little baby.
My sweet little baby. It's all right.
You.
Why you do that to me, Chelley Canales?
I'm sorry, your eyeliner looks so good. I don't want to ruin it.
It does, right?
You look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. This was so beautiful and so wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and for connecting with us and for that incredible journey that you've gone on with I haven't made this prevalently clear around how this has been primarily for people of color to express themselves and have a platform to be able to speak their truth and have this as an opportunity. And graciously, Liz Dawn from Celebrate Your Life said, why don't you use my platform? I believe in what you're doing. And for you to share that story of, I'm just moving, I'm just going from here to here, and, and that's not safe. And so it's just wonderful to know where you've been and what you have come through in order for you to share this wonderful message with us, so that we can get aware. Get aware, get clear, and really begin to integrate the wisdom that has been stifled. And so I appreciate you and all the things that you do and what you stand for. You mean so much.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. And it means so much for you to have created this Voices of Wisdom. Truly, it's a passion of mine to help with this. And I love that, with your platform and with your gifts that you have, you're using them towards this end. So I really, really appreciate that. Yeah, you're the best.
It's an honor. It's an honor. It's overdue, honestly. Rena, loved it. Gracias. Gracias, Chelley.
De nada.
Marianne, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Like some of the wisdom, I was just kind of trying to pop up some of the things that you were saying. Like this is huge. Give yourself credit for the amazing things you've done. No one can tell your story the way you tell your story. Shame is designed to keep us quiet. and we are not meant to be quiet. I think these are, I mean, I'm sure there's some things that as people have been listening can pull out as well. Chelley, how can people get in touch with you and to work with you, whether it's on their speaking or with your podcast, or connect and work with you more?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So ChelleyCanales.com, ChelleyCanales.com, kind of is an all-encompassing thing. You can read my blog. You can see the podcast, which also is on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. It's called Lighthouse Conversations with Chelley Canales. If you want to work with me in terms of like your speaking, like coaching wise, I'm working on that. You can contact me about that, and also just kind of like a jump start. I call myself spiritual spark plug, not because I have any knowledge that anyone else doesn't have, but because I like to help people get ignited on that journey, because there's so much awakening happening right now, especially through COVID and the pandemic. It's really just opened up people's minds and hearts to ask those big questions. But yeah, I'm going to be also doing some events, and things are starting to roll again now that the world is coming back. You can check out my digital book, The ABCs of Awakening, A Dictionary for the Emerging Soul, on Amazon. And yeah, that's the main thing.
That's
check out my
it.
TEDx
And
talk,
I'll tell you. Go ahead.
Oh, also my TEDx talk. It's called "What's the World Missing While You Wait for Permission?" And just because it ties in so much with what this was about, it goes a little bit deeper into all of that and what it costs us not to do those things.
Perfect. We got a lovely heart from Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
you son is saying amazing. Rena saying hey.
I'm loving all of this. Hi, Rena.
Yeah, it's so great. So I really appreciate you. Is there any other final words or contemplations? I mean, you have given massive actionable steps for our friends here. Is there anything else that you would like to kind of close it up with?
Done is better than perfect.
Girl,
just do it. You will listen to some of my podcasts and my microphone makes noise and the dog is barking and I'm like, but the message, you got to hear them. So don't stop yourself, because I really want things to be perfect. And if they're not, I'm like, I can't. No, do it. And then the more you do it, the more perfect it's going to be. You'll never be perfect, but use your heart, use your voice, and allow that to channel through to be received by the people around you.
Awesome. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Guys, thank you. I've still got tears in my eyes from the last meditation.
Love you.
My younger self really needed a hug, apparently. I'm just, again, Chelley, you make my world a better place with you in it. So I just want you to know that.
And you know that that's true. You make my world a better place. It's only been better since I've met you. So thank you. Yeah. Can't wait to dance with you again.
Oh, I know. I can't wait for another event.
Yes.
All right. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. I am Kira Schaefer. Voices of Wisdom is going to come back to you again tomorrow. We're going to go and do this. We're going to keep this party going until May 10th. Can you believe this? All of these beautiful voices coming forward, stepping into their power, and you do it too, because Chelley said that it's all okay.
That's right.
So let's do it.
Let's do it. Thank you
so much. And I will see you all again tomorrow. Bye.